Hi, and welcome. If you're going through fertility treatments and you've ever felt just lost or anxious or completely confused about what comes next, then this is for you. We're going to completely reframe how we look at this entire journey. Think about it for a second. Does your journey feel like you're just on some kind of conveyor belt, moving from one thing to the next? Sure, you get explanations, but do you feel like you're actually the one choosing the path? You're not alone. That feeling of being lost, of not really seeing the road ahead, it's so common. And for so many of us, that feeling really crystallizes with just a few words from the doctor. The moment they say, next is IVF, it can feel like a punch to the gut, like a final judgment that says, you failed. But what if I told you that entire way of thinking is just plain wrong? Okay, let's get into the big idea that can honestly change everything. For way too long, fertility treatment has been viewed as this ladder you have to climb, and every step up feels harder, more serious, almost like a personal failure. We need to throw that image away, right now. And instead, I want you to picture a map. You see, the ladder view is just so limiting. It's one single, painful climb with IVF sitting at the very top as the dreaded last resort. But the map view, oh, that is empowering. Suddenly you see all these branching paths, different options, detours, maybe even some shortcuts. There's no single right way to go. There's only the path that's right for you. Now, on this map, you can think of there being three main areas, or zones. Zone 1 is all about observation and natural timing. Zone 2 includes things like timed intercourse and IUI. And Zone 3 is where you'll find IVF and other advanced treatments. But here's the absolute game changer. These are not steps you have to take in order. 1, then 2, then 3. No. Depending on your age, your health, your timeline, your unique situation, you might start in Zone 2. You might go straight to Zone 3. It's not a ladder you climb, it's a map you navigate. Okay, so every good map needs a legend, right? It has symbols and data to help you find your way. In fertility, those symbols are your numbers, things like AMH and success rates. And I know they can cause a ton of stress. But what if we started seeing them not as a grade on a report card, but just as tools to help us read our map? So let's talk about AMH, the big one. So many people get their AMH number and their heart just sinks. But let me be perfectly clear about this. AMH is not a measure of your ability to get pregnant. It's an indicator of the quantity of eggs you have left, your ovarian reserve. It tells us absolutely nothing about the quality of those eggs, or if they'll fertilize, or if they'll implant. Right, so your AMH number is not a verdict. It's just a symbol on your map. It's a really useful piece of info that you and your doctor can use to plan the best route for you. You know, if someone has a high AMH and a longer timeline, their route might look really different from someone with a low AMH who wants a more direct path. It's all about planning your trip. And you know what? The same thing goes for those clinic success rates. Hearing a number like 30% can feel so defeating. But you have to remember, that number is just an average of thousands of completely different people with different bodies and different stories. That number doesn't know you. It doesn't know your story. It's a landmark on the map for sure, but it is not your final destination. So once you've looked at your map and you've understood the data, your path might point you towards Zone 3, the advanced treatments. And the key here is to walk into this part of the map feeling purposeful and in control, not like you've been forced to take the last scary step on a ladder. And this is so important to understand. Within this zone, there is no best treatment. One isn't necessarily more advanced or better than another. They are simply different tools that are designed to do different jobs. Let's break it down. Standard IVF, for instance, lets the fertilization happen naturally in a dish. ICSI is a tool that gives that process a helping hand. And PGTA, that's a completely different tool that's all about testing to help with embryo selection. See, each one has a very specific purpose. So how do you choose? Well, it all comes down to what's most important to you. This is where you get to ask yourself, what are my priorities? Is it time? Is it trying to minimize the number of attempts? Is it about getting as much certainty as we can about the probabilities? Or is it about managing the physical side of it all? The right path is the one that actually lines up with what you value most. So, you know what happens when you start to see the map, understand the data, and know what the tools are for? Everything changes. A huge shift happens. You're no longer just a passenger along for the ride. You become a co-pilot, a real partner in your own care. This right here, this is the whole point. It's about moving away from that feeling of just being assigned a treatment and moving toward that empowered feeling of having chosen your treatment. And that happens when you understand the map, you know what the symbols mean, and you can talk about the different routes with your guide, your doctor. Okay, so let's make this super practical. Here's your empowerment checklist. First, really take that map idea to heart. Second, start seeing your numbers as strategy tools, not judgments. And then, most importantly, at your next appointment, you're going to ask two amazing questions. First, what are all of my options right now? And for each of those options, what are the specific pros and cons for me? Asking those questions completely changes the conversation. It makes you an active, engaged co-navigator on your own journey. So I'll leave you with this. Now that you have this new way of looking at things, what's the first question you're going to ask?